everybody. Welcome to Workforce Gaming. I am Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
For some reason, we're back yet again, talking about more Dark Souls.
If I did this for every JRPG you play, I guess we're talking about another turn-based anime game.
Maybe, but I feel like those are there's enough inner stuff in between there that's not the case. I think I feel like we did Elden Ring and there. Anyway, we're up to Dark Souls 3, so we're about at the end, I gotta imagine, of just talking about Dark Souls week after week. So Doug, not me of course, went through and played Dark Souls 3. Again, just the timeline here, you played Elden Ring and went, man, I like Souls games, and then you played Dark Souls and went, man, I like Elden Ring, and then now we're at Dark Souls 3. You skipped 2, correct?
Yeah, I skipped 2. 2 is at this point the only one I haven't beaten.
Okay, and you never beaten 3 before up until a few
I
hours
actually
ago?
had, and it was actually one of the first things we'd recorded for this. And I think the reason I want to record this again is because this is probably the biggest turnaround I think I've ever had on a game. When I first played it, I largely did not enjoy it. And anytime I do my Souls rankings, it's way down at the bottom. It's just above Sekiro. I was I kind of enjoyed Dark Souls 3, but I think this turned out to be, even when I say one of my favorite Souls game, it's still fourth on the list, but it's a good 4 now. It's a good fourth on the list now.
It's fourth.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. I think this game. How do I start this? Dark Souls 3 requires you play Dark Souls 1, and I did not know that the first time I played Dark Souls 3. It has a 3 in the title.
I just
assumed.
That's normally what those numbers mean.
Yeah, but I just kind of assumed that people oh, the Souls games are kind of separate, and so on and so forth. So I had kind of assumed that this was also going to be separate, and that's just not the case. Dark Souls 3, it basically took everything from Dark Souls 1 and brought it to its logical conclusion. To kind of explain just the basis of Dark Souls 3 and why just as a borderline baseline game is just really, really cool. So in Dark Souls 1, the whole world basically is this horrible, desolate land. Fire is essentially kind of think of and God said there was light. In this world, God said there was fire. So there's a fire, and then all life spawned from that fire. Dark Souls 1, the fire is fading. We have to go relight the fire so civilization can continue, which is kind of neat.
Yeah,
and then the good ending is you link the fire and civilization continues, and the bad ending is you put the fire out and then civilization disappears for a long time. And it's ages of darkness, and it's clearly the bad ending. But in this worworld, it's
maybe we can get there. Do they canonize either of one of those? Is one obviously canon, one's not?
They canonized that it didn't matter, which is kind of cool. So what happens is when there's a world of darkness, what happens is eventually more fire begins, and then it basically, if you relight the fire, it continues the civilization. If you let it go to darkness, it basically resets everything, and then the fire comes back again, and then suddenly we're back. There's more fire, more life, so on and so forth. But the thing that's really cool about this one is that in the canon of Dark Souls 3, since you relit the bonfire in Dark Souls 1, or didn't, doesn't matter, when it started, they kept relighting and relighting and relighting and relighting. So the bosses that you fight in this game are the people who also had relit the flame, who had also gone on their own Dark Souls adventure.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And what's happened is that after all these characters, they were resummoned back to life to make sure to give somebody, this heir to the fire to go relink it once again. And it's been relinked thousands of times. So the world, because what's happened when, you relight a fire, it's this big explosion of fire.
Yeah.
But what's happened, it's gone on too many times. So the world's just covered with ash, and it just can't keep relighting. It's they make it very clear in the game. It's we can't keep doing this. The society that we're even continuing isn't great. The people here are suffering. So just because we've decided to continue civilization for so long, it's inadvertently created all this suffering. And then the people that they resummon back to life, the people who had previously linked the fire, they don't want to help relight it. And they each have their own reasons for not wanting to relight it. quick editor's note: these characters are called the Lords of Cinder. I never explained that to Brad, and thus some confusion later on. So the characters trying to who had relit the fire previously are called the Lords of Cinder. So it's kind of cool because the whole Dark Souls 1 was like, oh, we have to do it. That's the good ending. The good ending is relighting the bonfire. And then in this one, it just slowly gives more and more reason. And I get it. The logical conclusion, I'm going to get into spoilers for sure, because I think that's what makes this game cool. The logical conclusion that I had come to, because you do get that choice kind of at the end,
Yeah.
you know, are you going to relight the fire? Or to me, the logical conclusion was like, this society just needs to end. And and it was
Says the beginning of every supervillain ever.
Exactly. But that's the thing that's so cool. It's because it's like the entire world is in mourning. The entire world is just, it's like when you fight these characters, they make it very clear, like, this is not them in their prime. This is them just like whatever. And each like lord, they have their own like interesting reasons for having done it. And I just really like that, where it seemed like the logical conclusion was, so it's the exact opposite of what Dark Souls 1 was, where Dark Souls 1, like, the World of Darkness, like, that's the bad one. And this one, it's like, actually, you know, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. So it's kind of cool because some of the, yeah, sorry, what were you gonna say? So
I guess my question here is your change of pace or your change of mind in this, is it purely contextualized because you played the first one now? Is that like the big like light bulb moment for why this is good, is like all the context you were missing from the first one and getting all of this?
Yeah, yes, just even the basic, just like how the cycles work within Dark Souls. And then this one also, because it's kind of cool because you don't know how many times it's been reset since whatever happened in Dark Souls 1 happened, but they insinuate it's been like 1,000 times. But the thing that's kind of fun is like society's never really gotten that much farther. And the cool callbacks is like when you see something from Dark Souls 1, it's like just an old decrepit ruin, which is already decrepit ruin in Dark Souls 1, but like it's really neat. There's a part that I don't want to, I guess if I'm making full spoilers, I mean, why not? Because you don't care.
No, I very
and
much
people
don't.
who've but it's really cool coming upon a place like, so for example, in Dark Souls 1, there's this one place called Anor Londor. It's like the golden capital. And when you get there now, not only is it decrepit, it's been taken over by this thing called the Devourer, that has eaten the gods that were there before. So like these gods that you would come upon to meet in Anor Londor, he just ate them like 100 years ago or something like that. So his boss is this weird amalgamation of all these like, what you had just assumed were invincible gods.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, this guy just ate them. And it's like the Lords of Cinder too, they're not good people. There's like one who's kind of good, but they just kind of say that it's like these people or these beings, they were just strong enough. That's what was all required to like restart the world. You just needed to be strong enough. So for example, that one Devourer guy is one of the Lords of Cinder who reset it, and he's just a horrible cannibal that just kept eating people and eating just stronger and stronger people, and just became this black mass of goo that would just happen to be more powerful enough to do it. One of them is a giant, and the giants are generally hated in this world. And his description, like the reason he didn't even want to reset the fire, was his whole purpose for resetting the fire was to save somebody. He couldn't, and now he sees no point because he knows that everybody hates him anyway. So he's like, why would I want to help reset it? One of the other Lords of Cinder has basically just gone crazy, and it's too busy. It's like in like one of the other Lords of Cinder, it's like a battalion of people, and the battalion of people was strong enough to do it. So it's cool. You have like all these like little stories that have kind of happened along the way, and it's neat. I think the way that it describes these stories, it definitely puts each, when you're going up to a Lord of Cinder, you're learning more and more in that one level, and then you go to the next Lord of Cinder, you're more and more and more in that one level just about that one guy. So it does a much better job, I think, of explaining kind of what's going on. I mean, you still need to read items and stuff, but I think it just does a much better job of not being so obscure that you can kind of figure out and kind of feel it. And there's just that mood throughout the entire game. It's just this like, it's not, I don't know if it's depressing, but it's just like
that things are bad and we're living in it, and it's not necessarily like a good or bad thing. It's just this is the way things are.
Yeah, but there's just no hope. It's like it's not even like a depressing no hope.
But that's what I mean,
it's
like
kind
melancholy.
of like everybody's Yes, and
That's what I was
everybody's just
thinking.
acknowledged that there's no way to save this place. But it's fun because the characters that you meet from the first game, like they'll still back like, oh yes, we're gonna relight the fire. Oh yeah, we're gonna relight the fire. There's just these characters that their whole thing was just we're just gonna relight the fire, and that's what happens.
Hmm.
But in the back of your head, it's like I need to betray these guys. And it like that's what I ended up doing at the end was like, no, I'm gonna call for the world of darkness, and it's a very solemn ending that felt like really really appropriate. And it wasn't, it's funny because in Dark Souls 1 when you choose the dark ending, it does one of those, what are those camera tilts in like old Hitchcock movies where the camera tilts like the guy's like crazy as the
Oh
camera's
yeah.
like tilting. I forget, there's a term for it. It even has that tilt in the Dark Souls 1. But in the Dark Souls 3 ending, there's just a character who does it along with you, and they just kind of agree that this is the way to go.
Shake
And
hands
it's
and
fun.
let the world end.
Yeah, exactly. I just loved how it ended that way. And one of the cool things again, just getting the ending, you end up going to this place where in Dark Souls 1 you would reset the flame the first time. It's like, oh, this is just the place they reset the flame, so you're gonna go there again. And it's just a giant pile of ash. Like they had just in the first game when you go there, it's happened one time, and everything has this kind of like blown out glass because it was so hot, like it made everything turn to glass. But now because it's been blown out so many times, it's just this giant infinitely tall mound of ash that's been blown out way way too many times. It was cool too because some of the characters they referenced from Dark Souls 1, the characters you thought were good guys turned out to like not be good guys. It's like later on, there's this one character called Big Hat Joe. It's like a really silly name. The reason his name is Big Hat is because he has a big hat.
I
Yeah.
see.
Yes, and he's a wizard, and then you find out like the things that he had done after he'd become like this powerful wizard was like he had just like passed his lineage down to like these horrible monsters and let them do all these like weird experiments under his watch. And it's like, oh, that guy turned out to be an asshole. This guy actually turned out to be good. This guy turned out to be, and so it's just, I don't know. I think I just never played a game so melancholy. And it definitely felt weird coming from like a Dark Souls. I mean, I guess maybe not, but I feel like there's a sort of excitement in the old Dark Souls games of like you're the good guy fighting the good fight, and this one you're just not.
So is part
yeah.
of the, like, I guess the appeal now of Dark Souls 3 seeing this world from like first, like, maybe reincarnation is the wrong word, but first like reset to final like terminal point of the universe? Is that like where you're really getting this from? Because I guess in my mind you're like describing bosses and everything. It's like, okay, well those would have been there. Like a lot of these story pieces would have been there. The mood would have been there. So I guess like is the new piece from when we initially reviewed this like 5 or 6 years ago to now is really that like origin point to terminal point and seeing that whole way through. Is that where?
Yeah, and I think I just didn't understand what the choices at the end of Dark Souls 3 when I first played it. Like I didn't understand when I got the ending I got, like I like didn't quite get what happened, and like I didn't quite understand how the cyclical nature of the world worked, and I didn't know any of the characters at all. And like there's a lot of scenes where like you come upon a place that's like you should recognize this, or you should recognize this tune, or you should recognize this. It's a game that's just has tons and tons and tons of callbacks.
Yeah.
So if that's just completely lost on you, then you're just not going to have
So it's very much a game.
time.
So it's very much a game for people who have played the whole series. It's not a. We're welcoming you to jump in here. Let's fill you in the background. And I feel like Dark Souls kind of is known for not filling you in on the background unless you really try. So like now we're basing it off your already knowledge of the background to jump in on a game where we're not going to explain the background.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Dark Souls 1 was like required reading, and I just didn't know that. And I think that's funny. It's because like it's like Dark Souls 3. It's 1,000 years afterwards, and like it's a whole new cycle, so it doesn't really matter. You just need to know the basics. But it's like all the really cool, neat callbacks, and you understand why this character looks like this character here because what happened in Dark Souls 1 happened then. And I think that was just kind of the big one. So it felt like, I think ultimately it felt like one of my favorite endings to a series. Just because it just felt like, I just love when you take like some sort of weird idea and just bring it to its logical conclusion of just like, you can't keep doing this. And I just think that was just a really fun idea. Like to the fact where it's like, it's such a neat way to close out the series. To like Dark Souls 4 like just doesn't even make sense in this universe anymore. And
maybe that would be a good jumping in point.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. And it's part of the thing I was thinking of this was the cyclical stuff, as these guys kept making Souls games. Like they made Dark Souls 1, 2, Bloodborne, and now 3. And I'm like, part of me is like, when I was like, is this commentary on them just like making Souls games for the rest of their lives? It's like it has to end.
He will never go back to Armored Core. I can't believe it. We're stuck here. I just want to make Armored Core.
It just felt like such a good thing to like just like have people just like let go. And I just feel like most games don't have such a final ending. Mm-hmm. And I just really, really appreciate just the finality of it. Nice. Which was just a really, really cool game. And I'm trying to figure out like now with my like rankings, like where it floats into. But it's weird if I recommend this game. It's like, yeah, everybody should play Dark Souls 3. By the way, you have to play Dark Souls 1, which is like kind of janky nowadays. And then once you get through all that, then you play this one, which is still not as good as Elden Ring or Bloodborne or Demon's Souls. But
also you should play
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I won't play it, but maybe you should.
I think it's just fun that I was able to describe an entire series I know you'll never touch. I feel like most games that you play, it's like, I might play that. And then with Dark Souls, like, nope,
it's not happening. Sorry, I've tried. I've tried.
Yeah, luckily I'm done. I'm done at this point. I think I've played like 300 hours of Souls games since I finished. Since like Elden Ring was like 130, and then like 20 or 30 for Dark Souls 1, and then maybe 40 for that. So I played like 200 hours of Souls games. I think I'm good on Souls until Bloodborne 2 is announced.
What about Neo? You ever played Neo?
I hated it. I was not Neo.
See, now you want to go back to it. Now you want to go back to it.
No. My one comment on Neo is that the thing I like about Souls, like the combat is like one very small piece in this large puzzle of why I like Souls. Neo has like the worst, like most least interesting like setting. I don't care. Like when I was playing this game, I was like, I don't care. And then with Dark Souls, it's like, I just want to see the next city, the next this, the next that. And then Neo's just, I just like, this world just seems really boring.
Right.
That's usually the problem with most Souls games.
Souls good, knock off Souls boring. Got it. There we go.
Exactly.
Well, we are Workforce Gaming. You can subscribe to us wherever you're listening. Follow us on Twitter @Workforce Gaming, and we will see you later.
Bye.